I watched him for 12 straight games. An old man in a worn coat sitting alone in the highest row of the aluminum bleachers at Willow Creek Community Park. He never clapped, never shouted, just watched me like he was counting every bead of sweat rolling down my neck. I figured he was somebody's grandpa until the league coordinator pulled me aside after the final whistle and dropped the bomb. That man was my biological grandfather, and he had been searching for me since the day my mother decided I didn't need a real family. My name is Laya Cooper, and up until 11 months ago, my life was a perfectly balanced spreadsheet. Phoenix apartment with exposed brick, skyline view, six-figure budgets at Bright Tide Solutions, and zero family drama. I was 33, independent, and free. Then the phone call came. Tuesday evening. Mom dying on the line, not crying, gasping. Ray, my stepdad, had lost the big construction contract. The house in Willow Creek HOA was now drowning in liens because the mortgage was leveraged and the HOA fines were piling up like Texas heat. Karen Vance, the president, had already slapped them with 3 community standard violations in 1 week. I did what any responsible daughter with a project management brain would do. I wired $3,000 to stop the bleeding. Then I sublet my apartment, packed 2 suitcases, told my boss I needed remote for a family emergency, and drove 900 miles back to Willow Creek, Texas. The plan was surgical. 3 months max, $2,800 a month to cover the mortgage and HOA dues. Ray would land another gig. I'd be gone before the summer asphalt melted. Today marks day 314. The math stopped making sense months ago. Willow Creek looks like every HOA brochure ever printed. Identical beige houses, perfect lawns, American flags at the exact same height. But behind those white picket smiles sits the covenants thicker than the Bible and Karen Vance, the woman who treats those covenants like her personal 10 commandments. The day I pulled in, she was waiting on my mother's porch in her pastel cardigan and pearl necklace, clipboard in hand. "Welcome home, Laya," she cooed, all teeth and zero warmth. "We're so glad you're here to help stabilize the household. Just remember, the covenants are for everyone's property values." She handed me a fresh violation notice for the mailbox flag being 1 inch too large. 1 inch. $100. Welcome to paradise. I sat at the kitchen table that first morning, laptop open to my Bright Tide spreadsheet, while the chaos of the Marlowe household swirled. Ray strolled in wearing a silk robe that cost more than my weekly groceries, poured himself my premium coffee, and sighed the sigh of a misunderstood genius. "Big developer meeting in Dallas next week, Laya. 6 figures easy if it lands." I typed harder. I didn't want potential. I wanted him to stop the bleeding. Lacey, my half-sister, floated in next in matching loungewear, phone glued to her hand. "I need the car later for a brand ambassador lunch interview." The car was mine. Their leased SUV got repossessed months ago in a driveway. Spectacle Karen Vance made sure the whole block saw. By evening, the walls felt like they were closing in. Ray was blasting Fox News at earthquake volume. Lacey came home, not from an interview, but with a Sephora bag she tried to hide. I grabbed my cleats and shin guards. "Where are you going?" Mom asked from the couch. "Community League," I said. Ray grunted from his recliner. "You're burning gas driving to the park field every week." I didn't answer. I just reversed out before I became the villain in their story. The Willow Creek Rec League field is 15 minutes away. 4 floodlit pitches, artificial turf that skins your knees, the smell of deep heat rub and desperation. I joined 3 weeks after I arrived. Needed something logical after the HOA insanity. On the field, effort equals results. No one cares about your mailbox flag size. The air was thick with storm humidity the night I first noticed him. I tied my laces, looked up, and there he was. Top row, center line. Heavy tweed coat in 85-degree Texas heat. Perfectly still. Hands on knees. Not watching the ball. Watching me. Every time play stopped, my eyes darted back. He didn't move. Didn't blink. It felt like he knew exactly how many fines Karen had already slapped on my house. Exactly how much of my savings was hemorrhaging into Ray's visionary lifestyle. The referee blew the whistle. I ran back on defense, but the weight of that gaze stayed on my neck like a lien I couldn't pay off. 2 weeks later, the conversation shifted from desperate help to dull expectation. We were in the living room. Air conditioner rattling against the humidity. Mom sorting bills into piles. Pay now. Pay later. Ignore until Karen calls. Laya, the HOA special assessment just hit. Insurance went up. Electricity rates climbed. The 2,800 you're sending is tight. I looked up from my Zoom, camera off. I transferred 3,200 on the first. That's 400 over. She sighed the sigh that meant I was being difficult. Inflation, honey. And Karen says the community needs new entrance gates. We're all pitching in. Ray walked in making a smoothie. Big potential meeting next Tuesday. Need the suit dry cleaned and gas in the tank. You have to spend money to make money. Lacey floated in with Whole Foods bags, alkaline water, grass-fed steaks, $18 almond butter. I held up the jar. We're on a budget. Why are we buying this when I'm eating peanut butter from a plastic tub? Lacey rolled her eyes. My body is a temple. I need to look good for interviews. You have the money. You don't spend on yourself anyway. Ray clapped my shoulder. Ease up, Laya. We're a team. Families carry each other. Right now you're carrying the ball. I looked at him. I'm not carrying the ball, Ray. I'm paying for the stadium. He laughed that booming fake laugh. Just float us an extra $500 this month. I walked out before I said something that would get me fined for disturbing the peace. That evening at the field, he was there again. Same coat. Same stare. During the second, half a defender raked my shin. I hit the turf hard. When I looked up, the old man was standing, gripping the railing, face twisted in alarm. Genuine fear. I waved I was fine. He slowly sat back down. At halftime, I grabbed my water bottle and walked to the sideline. On my gear bag sat a fresh glass bottle of electrolyte water, $4 a pop, cool and sweating. No note. I asked Jose, our goalie, you see who left this? He shrugged. Maybe the old guy. He's been here every game this season and last. We joked he was scouting for Manchester United. The drive home was unsettling. When I walked into the kitchen, the mail pile was there. An envelope addressed to me, torn open jaggedly. Inside, empty. Mom appeared in her nightgown. Oh, that. Ray opened it by mistake. Junk mail. I threw the letter away. I stared at the tear. Ray didn't open mail. He barely opened his eyes before noon. I locked my bedroom door that night and checked my bank app. There was a 32-cent verification charge from an unknown service. Someone was testing the door handle. Someone had my routing number, and they were sleeping down the hall. The phone rang at 2:14 in the afternoon. Unknown number, red fraud risk banner. I was deep in a Q3 budget variance when the woman on the line said, MS. Cooper, this is Capital One Fraud Prevention. We just declined a $12,460 charge at RH Interiors in Fort Worth. Was this you? 12 grand. Not a dinner mistake. A living room collection sofa and artisan coffee table. No, I said, voice rising. I'm in Willow Creek. Card is here. She explained the attempt was through a digital wallet provisioned 10 minutes earlier. Someone had my full card number, expiration, CVV, and the verification text. I told her to kill the card immediately. Then I checked my email spam folder. Affirm pay confirmation. Loan approved. Shipping address, my house. 402 Maple Drive, Willow Creek, Texas. They weren't stealing to run away. They were stealing to redecorate the room I was currently sitting in. I stood up so fast a chair crashed. Mom and Lacey were in the sunroom, flipping through magazines. Lacey had a green clay mask on. Did you try to buy a $12,000 sofa using my name? I asked, dangerously calm. Lacey peeled the mask off her chin. I applied for financing. 0% for 24 months. Basically free money. My vein throbbed. It's fraud, Lacey. A felony. Mom put the magazine down with weaponized exhaustion. Laya, please. Lower your voice. The neighbors. Karen already sent another notice about noise. Lacey shrugged. I need the house to look professional for content. The old sofa has a stain. I was doing this for the family image. Mom added, we thought it would be a nice surprise. Ray's back has been hurting. Surprise. A $12,000 debt is not a surprise. It's an anchor. I pull my phone out. I'm freezing everything and filing fraud. The front door slammed. Ray walked in, suit jacket over his shoulder. What's going on? Lacey pointed at me. Laya's trying to send me to jail over a couch. Ray's face flushed. Illegal? We live under the same roof. You eat our food, use our water, and you're calling the cops on family over furniture. I yelled, I pay for the food. I pay for the water. And now you want me to pay for luxury while I eat peanut butter. Ray threw his jacket down. You're selfish, Laya. Always have been. You come back with your big city job and perfect credit and lord it over us. I looked at the three of them, united front. Not afraid of the law. Terrified the golden goose was about to fly away. I whispered, I'm not reporting it to the police. Not yet. I walked to my room, locked the door, pushed the dresser against it, and nuked my digital life. Credit freezes on all three bureaus. Passwords changed. Two-factor on everything. I scrolled my bank statements and found the nibbles had started months ago. $200 spa charge, $500 PayPal to Riyar Enterprises. They had been testing the waters while I played the good daughter. By 8 p.m., they were eating expensive sushi in the kitchen. No plate for me. I made a peanut butter sandwich. Lacey smirked. I got the email. Order canceled. My followers think I'm a liar now. I said, you are a liar. Ray slammed his chopsticks. Enough. I told them everything was locked. Credit files frozen. Any attempt would auto-trigger a police report. Mom's eyes filled with tears. Why do you hate us, Laya? We're just trying to survive. Lacey laughed cruelly. You're so cheap. It's just money. You can make more. He's so rich. He has millions. And you're here, crying over a couch. You have his blood. You should be rolling in it. The room froze. Ray stopped chewing. Mom went pale. Lacey realized she'd said the quiet part out loud. I asked softly, who is he? Ray barked, nobody. She's talking about Elon Musk or some celebrity. But I looked at Lacey. You said I have his blood. Mom stood up collecting plates with trembling hands. It's late. Ignore her. Lacey speaks nonsense when stressed. I walked to my room, but didn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling fan and saw the old man on the bleachers. If he was who I thought, who was I? And why were they working so hard to keep us apart? The following Wednesday, the air at the park field felt heavy enough to choke on. For 7 days, Lacey's words had looped in my head. He is so rich. You have his blood. I played like a ghost. My eyes kept drifting to the top row. He was there. Warren, that's what I called him now. Same coat, same posture. Around the 60th minute, the league coordinator Rick, in his yellow windbreaker, climbed the bleachers. He stopped at the row below the old man, gestured, looked at a driver's license. His aggressive posture melted into awkward deference. I jogged to the sideline, heart hammering. By the time I reached the bottom of the stands, Rick was handing the license back with two hands like it was a holy relic. Mr. Callahan, here we were just checking credentials. Loitering complaints, but obviously not. Rick looked between us. He says he's waiting for you. The old man stood. Tall. Spine straight. Voice deep and gravelly. I am. Rick said, you know him, right? He's your grandfather. The world stopped. Mom had told me my father was an orphan. My grandfather died of a heart attack in 1995. I had visited a grave in Houston. I looked at the line of his jaw, my jaw, the arch of his eyebrows, mine. He said, Laya, I am Warren Callahan, and I am your grandfather. Your mother is my daughter. I whispered. She told me you were dead. He nodded with profound sadness. It's easier to spend a dead man's money than a living one's. He sat beside me on the bench, leaving respectful space. He handed me a thick manila envelope. Birth certificate. Hospital intake form with his name as guarantor. Photos of him holding baby me. Letters spanning 30 years, returned to sender. I sent money with conditions for your education, your health. Diane didn't like conditions. She wanted resources without accountability. I thought of the sofa, the almond butter, the forged charges. So she told me you were dead. Warren looked out at the field. I sat in these stand for 12 games because I needed to see if you were like them. If you were part of the con. He pointed to my bruise, my cheap car. You're the one paying the bills now, aren't you? I nodded. You're the host, and they're bleeding you dry. He stood, buttoned his coat. I'm at the Willow Creek Inn, room 212. I have a lawyer, Maya. She specializes in forensic accounting and trusts. If you want the truth, the whole truth about the liens, the loans, your future, come see me. But if you want to keep paying their mortgage and letting Karen Vance use your name, that's your choice. He paused. That $12,000 furniture attempt, just the tip of the iceberg. They're desperate. Desperate people are dangerous. Watch your back, Laya. He disappeared into the parking lot shadows. I sat there long after the lights went out. When I pulled into the driveway, the house was lit up like Christmas. Ray pacing in the window. I touched the envelope on the passenger seat and thought of every holiday Mom cried while cashing checks from a father she claimed was dead. I walked inside. Ray grunted, "You're back late. Did you win?" I looked at the man who wore silk robes while I worked 12-hour days. We didn't win. But the game isn't over. The meeting place Warren chose was a dusty diner 3 towns over called the Kettle. Vinyl booze patched with duct tape. Waitresses who called everyone sugar. Perfect because Ray and Karen Vance would never set foot in a place without white tablecloths. I arrived 4 minutes early. He was already there, black coffee steaming. No heavy coat today, just a simple button-down and cardigan. He slid a folder across the table. Everything you need is in here. The original covenants I wrote when I founded Willow Creek 40 years ago. Patricia Vance, your mother's old friend, pushed me out 8 years ago with forged board votes. She's been skimming special assessments ever since. The liens on your house, not random. She and your mother forged your signature on 3 appeals and a community improvement loan for new gates that actually went to Patricia's pool renovation. I stared at the documents. My forged signature on HOA forms. Verification charges. Bank records showing Ray's consulting company receiving HOA kickbacks. Warren's voice stayed calm. I respected your mother's wish to disappear. But when I saw the fines climbing and your name appearing on loan documents, I couldn't stay silent anymore. He placed a hand on mine. Warm. Steady. You don't have to do anything. But if you want to end this, Maya and I have a plan. I drove home that night with a folder burning in my passenger seat. The house smelled of stale pizza and Ray's cologne. He was rehearsing his pitch for the next HOA board meeting. Buzzwords like synergy and scalable community growth. I sat at the dining table, phone recording face down. Ray, Mom, Lacey, we need to go over the numbers before tomorrow's special meeting. Ray stopped pacing, surprised I was offering help. Mr. Sterling, the investor I lined up for the community upgrade, is going to want a clean balance sheet. The tension broke like magic. Mom sighed with relief. I told you she'd come around. She's a team player. Lacey smirked. Finally, Ray sat like a king. What do you need? I asked for the full list of liabilities, especially the credit lines attached to the HOA LLC. Ray hesitated, then brought the black binder he guarded like nuclear codes. He flipped to the financials. There it was, a $50,000 line of credit. At the bottom, guarantor signature, Laya M. Cooper. Forged. The C was too round. Mom's handwriting. I kept my face neutral. I need to see the file, so Sterling doesn't get surprised. Ray laughed nervously. It's just on paper. Once the money comes in, it vanishes. Mom refused to meet my eyes. I signed for you. I'm your mother. We needed the capital to keep the lights on. Ray slid a ratification document across the table. Just sign this, and it cleans everything up. Retroactive approval. Then tomorrow we're all rich. I held the pen over the paper, but didn't sign. It needs to be notarized. We'll do it tomorrow morning before the meeting. Stop at the bank on the way. Ray relaxed. The logic was sound. He didn't see the trap. I stood up. I have a headache. Want to be fresh. In my room, I locked the door, pushed the dresser, and sent the recording to Maya. We have the admission of forgery, intent, and coercion. I transferred my last paycheck to a new account, initiated mail forwarding to a P.O. box in Austin, and packed a suitcase, laptop, passport, the folder from Warren. I left the old T-shirts and books. Casualties of war. At 11:30, Maya texted, "Judge signed the emergency order. Injunction active. Eviction notice prepared. Stay safe." Tomorrow we push the button. I lay fully dressed on the bed, listening to Ray snore, the refrigerator hum, the foundation settling. For a moment, the old programming whispered guilt. Then I remembered the forged signature. The guilt vanished. They wanted a guarantor. Tomorrow they were going to get one, but I wasn't guaranteeing their loan. I was guaranteeing their downfall. The morning sun hit the driveway at 8:15. Ray was vibrating in his navy suit, checking his watch. "Come on, Laya." "Mister." Sterling is punctual. I came downstairs holding my phone in my ear, faking panic. Server crash in Phoenix. Boss is screaming. I have to remote in. "You go start the meeting. I'll meet you at the bank in 2 hours. Ray puffed up at the flattery. "I am a visionary." "Okay, we'll go without the co-pilot." I watched the leased SUV peel out. Then I dialed Maya. "They're gone." "Execute." 12 minutes later, a black van and sedan pulled in. Maya stepped out with Warren. He used a cane today, but moved with grim purpose. Drew Hollis jumped out with locksmiths and movers. Maya asked, "House clear?" I nodded. Warren looked at the brick monstrosity he had originally built to protect his daughter. Now a monument to her greed. "Are you sure, Laya?" he asked. "Once we turn this key, there's no going back." I thought of the practice sheets, the notebook of my passwords, the way they looked at me like a credit score. "Burn it down." The sound of drills biting into the brass locks was the most satisfying noise I'd ever heard, like freedom screaming. While locksmiths worked, Warren signed the termination of tenancy at will. They were guests who had overstayed by 30 years. The movers moved with surgical precision, personal items only. Anything bought with household or HOA funds stayed. Diane's closet emptied into boxes. Lacey's ring light room packed in 20 minutes. I walked into Ray's office, the room I was never allowed in. It smelled of stale cigar and fear. In the closet, under dirty laundry, a cheap fireproof safe. Drew picked it with a bypass key taped to the back. Inside, stacks of tracing paper. Ray had practiced Warren Callahan's signature, then mine, from a birthday card I'd sent 3 years ago. A notebook of all my passwords. Laya email. Security question. Mother's maiden name. Use Marlowe. Laya, social security number. Drew snap photos. Premeditated identity, theft, and forgery. 10 to 15 years easy. I stood in the living room as the last box left. Without their clutter, the house felt larger. Cleaner. I took a spoonful of the $18 almond butter. It tasted like victory. I taped a note to the front door. Keys to storage unit and apartment inside. Rent paid, 30 days. Locks changed. Police notified of trespass order. Do not return. Family is not a place where you are allowed to steal. I locked the new deadbolt from inside and waited. The SUV screeched into the driveway at dusk. I stood on the other side of the reinforced door, hand on the cool deadbolt. Ray's key scratched uselessly. Then the pounding started. "Laya, open this goddamn door." His voice cracked, stripped of salesman polish. Lacey screamed, "My chargers are inside." I slid the chain and opened the door 3 inches. Ray's face filled the gap. Red, sweating, tie loosened like a noose. Mom's mascara ran in black rivers. Lacey filmed with her phone, flash blinding. I passed the manila envelope through the crack. "Call the sheriff." The number's inside, along with the deed proving this house belongs to the Callahan Trust and the trespass warning. Ray ripped it open. "This is nonsense. I have squatter's rights." I said calmly, "You have a storage unit key and an apartment paid for 30 days. More than you deserve." Mom pushed forward. "Laya, please. Where will we sleep?" I looked at the woman who forged my signature. "I'm not doing anything to you, Mom." I'm just stopping you from doing things to me. I slammed the door and threw the deadbolt. The hits kept coming. Next morning at the coffee shop, the barista looked away. Lacey had posted on the Willow Creek Community Facebook page a tearful video. My own sister kicked our elderly parents out on the street. She's mentally unstable. Please be careful if you see Laya Cooper. Comments flooded. Monster. Prayers for you, Lacey. Wednesday night at the field, I almost didn't go, but Warren texted, do not hide. If you hide, you look guilty. I laced up. Teammates were quiet. Halfway through the first half, a car screeched in. Mom marched to the chain-link fence. There she is, the traitor, selling her family out for money. The game stopped. Referee confused. You think you're so high and mighty? Cozying up to that old man. She pointed at the empty top row. Everyone knows she's sleeping with him. Calls him grandfather, but we know the truth. Gold digger. The silence was sickening. Rick, the coordinator, stepped through the gate. Mrs. Marlowe, you need to leave. Mom turned on him. Or what? You protecting her? Did the old man pay you too? Rick towered over her. The old man is Warren Callahan. He donated the lights for this field 10 years ago. Set up the scholarship fund. He showed me the birth records. And we all know Ray Marlowe bounced checks for league sponsorship 3 years running. If anyone's a fraud here, Diane, it isn't Leia. Mom looked around at the faces now filled with pity instead of disgust. She crumbled and ran to her car. Rick put a hand on my shoulder. Play ball, Cooper. I nodded, but my legs felt wooden. Thursday afternoon, Maya called while I worked from the new apartment. Sitting down, we found 2 more cards. Visa and MasterCard opened 18 months ago. Charges at Sephora, Revolve, Luxury Resort in Cabo. Total $9,400. Lacey. I closed my eyes. Grand larceny. Wire fraud. Maya paused. More news. The district attorney picked up Ray's file, classifying it as elder financial abuse. Mandatory prison time. 10 minutes later, Mom called. Leia, I know about the credit cards. Please stop it. Tell the lawyers it was a mistake. If Ray goes to jail, it will kill us. I said, you should have thought of that before you practiced my signature. She sobbed. We were desperate. Ray promised it would turn around. I gripped the phone. You didn't want a family. You wanted a shield. You sacrificed me. I blocked the number. Friday morning, the day the indictment was rumored to drop. I was heading to Maya's office when the hospital called. Mr. Callahan collapsed at his hotel. Severe angina. Stable but weak. I drove like a maniac. Room 304. Nurse said, he has visitors. A man claiming to be his son-in-law with urgent legal papers. Ray. I sprinted up the stairs. Door open. Ray leaning over the bed, forcing a pen into Warren's hand. Just sign it, Warren. It's for Leia. Do it for the family. Warren's monitors beeped frantically. I launched myself at Ray, knocking the clipboard away. Security. Ray stumbled back, eyes wild. I almost had it. I almost fixed it. I stood between him and my grandfather. You never fixed anything. You just broke everyone around you. Security dragged Ray out. I took Warren's hand. I'm here. He squeezed weakly and wheezed a smile. You're a linebacker. I smiled through tears. Learn from the best. The courtroom for the emergency hearing was small and sterile, fluorescent lights, beige walls. I sat on the left with Maya and Drew, surrounded by banker boxes of evidence. On the right, Ray, Mom, Lacey, and their billboard lawyer. Judge Harrison entered, reading glasses perched on her nose. Zero patience for theatrics. Emergency hearing regarding revocation of power of attorney and protection against financial abuse. Ray's lawyer boomed. This is a tragic misunderstanding. My client has been a devoted son-in-law for decades. Ray nodded solemnly. We just want what's best for Dad. Maya stood, connected her laptop to the courtroom audio. Your Honor, we're here to look at the data. She pressed play. Ray's voice filled the room. Just sign this. It cleans everything up. If you sign, we pay off the debt and we're all rich. The silence after was heavy. Maya continued. Drew projected high-res photos of the tracing paper. 37 sheets, practicing Warren's signature, 12 practicing mine. This is not a misunderstanding. This is a workshop. Mom wailed. He made me do it. Ray snapped. Shut up, Diane. You wanted the new kitchen. The gavel slammed. Order. Judge Harrison looked at Ray with dissecting cold. Businessmen do not practice their partner's signatures in a closet. The doors opened. An electric motor whirred. Warren rolled in, hospital gown under a blazer, pushed by a nurse. He stopped beside me and took my hand. May I speak, Your Honor? His voice raspy but clear. I spent the last year sitting in silence. I'm done being quiet. He turned to them. For 30 years I thought I had lost my daughter. I sent money thinking I was helping her build a life. I didn't know I was funding a performance. I sat in the top row of a soccer field for 12 games because I was afraid the poison in this family would infect Laya too. But you were already eating her alive. You stole my name. You stole her credit. You stole her trust. He looked at the judge. I'm asking the court to sever all ties. I want them out of my trust. I want them out of my life. And I want them away from Laya. Judge Harrison nodded. The evidence of financial abuse and fraud is overwhelming. She granted permanent revocation of power of attorney, appointed an independent fiduciary, issued a permanent restraining order against Ray and Diane, 500 feet from Warren or me. The eviction stood. 48 hours to remove personal property from storage. And the transcripts went straight to the district attorney. Mr. Marlowe, save whatever money you have left for a criminal defense attorney. Ray slumped. The visionary was gone. Mom wept silently. Lacey whispered, What about me? I didn't sign anything. I looked at her. You spent it, Lacey. Case closed. Gavel banged. We walked into the bright hallway. Maya shook hands with Warren. It's over. I stood by the window watching Ray and Mom argue their way to the car. They looked small, miserable. Warren touched my arm. Do you feel guilty? I watched them drive away. I thought I would, but I didn't break the family. I just broke the transaction. Warren smiled without sadness for the first time. That's a good way to put it. 2 weeks later, the humidity broke. Wednesday night, at the field, the air was crisp. I tied my cleats while teammates laughed. The rumors had died. Truth circulates faster than Karen's gossip. I jogged onto the field and looked up at the stands. The top row was empty. My heart squeezed out of habit. Then a voice, Go get them, Laya. Warren sat in the front row behind the sideline fence. No heavy coat, just a light windbreaker and team cap. Rick sat next to him, explaining rules. Jose's wife shared popcorn. He was in the middle of the crowd. Part of the noise. He lifted 2 bottles of the good electrolyte water and waved. I smiled. Lightness in my chest I hadn't felt in years. No mortgage. No secret debt. No weight of parents who refused to grow up. Just Laya. And I had a game to play. The referee blew the whistle. I ran faster than ever. Not away from something, but towards something that was finally mine. Thank you for listening to this story. It was a long journey from that dark driveway to the bright lights of the community field, and I'm grateful you stayed until the final whistle. Drop a comment. Where are you tuning in from? On your commute, at the gym, or budgeting at your own kitchen table? If you enjoyed seeing justice serve against HOA tyranny and toxic family, hit like, subscribe, and share with anyone who needs the courage to cut their own toxic ties. See you in the next neighborhood nightmare.